Gemini. Have you ever felt like you say so much, understand everything, yet inside there's a strange emptiness? There are nights when you curl up in silence not because no one is listening, but because no one truly understands you. You smile, you think, you speak with brilliance, yet deep within, there's a part of you yearning to be seen, to be touched, to be loved, not for what you say, but for who you truly are. You may not realize it, but God has heard that quiet whisper of your soul for a long time. He's guiding you through this loneliness not to make you weak, but to teach you how to recognize which souls truly resonate with yours, and which connections only shine on the surface but are hollow in spirit. Because sometimes God lets certain people walk away just so there's enough space for the one your soul has been seeking, perhaps since before this lifetime, to finally find their way to you. If you've ever felt that God was speaking to you through a person, a moment, or a small sign, write, "I trust God's guidance," in the comments. That's how you open an energetic door, letting the prayer in your heart travel straight to the heavens. Click like and subscribe, so that whenever you need a sign, God can use these messages to reach you at exactly the right time. Now, pour yourself a warm cup of tea or your favorite coffee, because today's journey is not just a message, it's a quiet conversation between you and your soul. Part 1. The loneliness behind Gemini's smile and intelligence. Gemini, have you ever wondered why, even though you can talk to anyone, there are nights when you still feel no one truly understands you? You can light up any room, make others laugh, keep every conversation flowing, yet when the night falls, it's just you and your mind, spinning through thousands of thoughts. Sometimes you ask yourself, am I really happy, or just performing the version of happiness everyone wants to see? You were born with a sacred gift, intelligence and connection. You can sense energy in someone's eyes, read emotion between words, and understand what others can't say. But that same gift makes you tender. You notice when someone's lying. You feel when someone is pulling away, and still you smile even when your heart knows the truth. Perhaps that's why you're tired. Tired of always being the one who knows, yet rarely being the one who's truly seen. People see your wit, your charm, your clever words, but that's only the surface. Deep within, Gemini is a soul of two halves, one radiant with laughter and light, and the other silent, waiting to be understood. When no one dives deep enough to reach that hidden half, you begin to feel like you're living in two parallel worlds, one filled with conversations that skim the surface, and another where your heart quietly longs for someone who listens with their soul. Sometimes you laugh in a crowd while crying inside. You talk endlessly, yet no one answers the question your heart is really asking. You find comfort in music, in spiritual writings, in the mysteries of the universe, because deep down you know you're more than the talker. You're a soul searching for its way home. And then, in what feels like a random moment, God makes you pause. He brings stillness, loneliness, even endings not to punish you, but to teach you how to hear your own soul. Because, Gemini, you've always been great at listening to others. But have you ever truly listened to yourself? Have you ever asked, what is my soul craving? Why does my heart feel empty, even when everything seems fine? God doesn't want you to live by logic alone. He's inviting you deeper into the emotional truth you often avoid, because it's there that you'll find the key to your own soul, the one you've been searching for in everyone else. Loneliness isn't a punishment. It's the doorway into your truest self, and only when you step through it Will you recognize the souls who are meant to walk beside you? Gemini, it's time to stop smiling when you don't feel like it. To stop nodding when your heart aches inside. Your light doesn't come from making others happy. It shines brightest when you live honestly. When you let yourself be soft, vulnerable, and real. The moment you choose truth, God begins sending kindred souls your way. People whose words feel like home, whose energy makes your heart rest easy. So if you feel lonely in a crowd right now, know this: it doesn't mean you're lost. It means God is pulling you away from the noise to prepare you for a divine meeting ahead. He's protecting your light from being drained by shallow connections and saving it for those who will truly see it. Trust that every quiet moment today is heaven whispering, "My child, don't fear the loneliness. I am teaching you how to love yourself." If you've ever felt lonely even while surrounded by people, share your heart in the comments as a way to release it. Write one simple line: "I'm ready for true connection." And don't forget to like and subscribe so God can continue to send you the right messages at the right time, gentle whispers meant only for Gemini, guiding you back to the truest version of your soul. Part 2. The Awakening Journey. God is leading you away from false connections. Gemini, you are the sign of connection. You talk, you laugh, you share, you listen, and you want to be heard. Your life feels like a symphony of conversations, of laughter and ideas. But have you ever realized that, even when you can talk to dozens of people in a day, very few truly understand you? You live through your mind where everything has reason, logic, and analysis. And even in your connections, you tend to understand people with your intellect more than you feel them with your heart. That's why so many of your relationships seem dazzling but fleeting, like stars that shine brightly for a moment and then fade away. People are drawn to your mind, your energy, your charm, the way you make them feel alive. But few ever stay long enough to see that behind the clever words and bright smile is a soul quietly exhausted from always being the strong one. Gemini, you carry the energy of two worlds, one of light, one of depth. You can blend with almost anyone, yet that same adaptability can make you lose yourself in others. Some people come only to feed off your energy and leave when you need them most. Some feel like destiny, but in truth, they were sent to teach you about boundaries, about trust, about your own worth. And then God steps in, quietly, patiently. He begins to remove the people you thought you couldn't live without: a friend, a lover, someone who once felt like home. Everything starts to fall away, leaving behind an emptiness that confuses you. You ask, "God, why are you taking them away?" But in truth, He is not taking. He is returning you to where you belong. God doesn't remove people to punish you. He clears the path for those who are meant to truly understand you. Because if you keep holding on to the ones who only love your light, there won't be space for the souls who can love your darkness too. Lately, you might notice yourself becoming quieter, less talkative, less eager for meaningless conversation. You start choosing silence over explanation. You no longer feel the need to prove that you're interesting. You just want peace. That is a divine sign of healing. God is teaching you that not everyone who makes you laugh brings peace, and not every silence means loneliness. Awakening isn't about meeting the right person, it's about having the courage to let go of the wrong ones. Because letting go isn't losing, it's returning. When you walk away from false connections, you're not losing people. You're coming home to yourself, to the truth God planted in you from the very beginning. And from that place, you begin to see differently. Deep conversations are no longer about topics or words. They're about energy. Some people make your soul rest just by sitting beside you. Others can talk for hours, yet leave you feeling empty. That's the difference between talking with the mouth and speaking with the soul. God is teaching you to recognize this. He wants you to pause, to stop chasing new conversations, and instead listen for the ones that bring your soul peace. Because peace isn't loud. It doesn't come from long messages or beautiful promises. It comes from the feeling that says, I don't have to try, and yet I am understood. So, Gemini, if you're in the middle of releasing someone, don't be afraid. Trust that God never removes anything without replacing it with something better. Don't run from the emptiness, see it as an invitation, a sacred pause where God is preparing you to receive the soul that truly belongs with yours. If this is where you are right now, between endings, silence, and unanswered questions, write in the comments. I trust the process. It's not just a phrase. It's a covenant between you and God, your faith in His divine timing. And click subscribe, because in the days ahead, you might find that right here through the next message, God will speak to you again, guiding you step by step through this awakening journey until your soul finally finds its peace. Part 3. The 3 types of souls God sends to touch Gemini's spirit. Gemini, you are a soul of 2 worlds, one ruled by reason, the other by intuition. You know how to observe, to understand, to speak, but sometimes you forget how to feel yourself. That's why God teaches you that not everyone who enters your life is meant to love you or stay forever. Some are sent only to awaken your soul. When your mind becomes still, God begins to send 3 kinds of souls, not to fill you, but to illuminate you. Each carries a sacred frequency and appears precisely when you need to see a reflection of something within yourself. They are not coincidences. They are divine messages wrapped in human form. 1. The soul of the awakened one. This person arrives when you've grown tired of shallow talk. When you start wondering, is there anyone out there who truly understands me? They don't impress you with looks or romance, but with the light in their words. When you meet them, you might not notice it right away, but your soul will vibrate. They speak the thoughts you've whispered to God in the quiet of the night. Every sentence they say seems to tap gently on your mind, waking a layer of awareness you thought had fallen asleep. You begin to see that knowledge isn't for outsmarting others, it's for understanding yourself. This person makes you curious in a new way, not about them, but about you. They reignite your faith, your light, reminding you that you were born not just to speak, but to share wisdom and compassion. Around them, you may feel as if God is speaking through them, not because they're perfect, but because they carry the frequency of awakening. And the miracle is this. Once you've learned their lesson, you realize God has also been speaking through you all along. 2. The soul of the mirror. If the awakened one brings light, then the mirror brings shadow, not to hurt you, but to help you see what you've been avoiding. This is the person who confuses you, frustrates you, even triggers you, yet you can't stop thinking about them. They touch the deepest wounds within you. They reflect everything you haven't healed. Your fear of abandonment, your insecurity, your belief that you're never enough. With them, you feel exposed, impulsive, emotional parts of you you'd rather hide. But Gemini, God doesn't send them to punish you. He sends them so your soul can see itself. When they make you hurt, pause and ask, what are they showing me within? Because discomfort is the door to healing. This person teaches you the sacred lesson of self-awareness, that true love isn't about finding someone who makes you forget your pain, but someone who helps you face it with courage. And once you embrace both your light and your shadow, you'll feel a beautiful release, because you'll realize you don't need someone to complete you, only someone to walk beside you. 3. The soul of the companion. After you awaken and face yourself, God sends the soul companion not to teach you, not to test you, but to stay. This person carries silence, peace. They don't say much, yet every time they're near, your heart feels calm. You don't have to perform, impress, or be strong. You just are, and they stay. Their presence alone heals you. You can sit together in silence for hours and still feel like you're conversing with the universe. Through their eyes, through their quiet listening, you can feel God's love. They are the soft light He sends to mend Gemini's divided soul, so your mind and your heart can finally rest in harmony. They don't ignite wild passion or painful lessons. They bring home that rare feeling Gemini has been searching for across lifetimes. And you will only meet them when you're truly ready to love without fear. These 3 souls are the 3 chapters of your divine journey. One arrives to awaken you, one to reflect you, and one to walk beside you. Each carries a sacred mission to guide you back to your authentic self. Gemini, if you've ever met someone who made you feel like God was speaking through them, a glance, a word, a moment that silenced your heart, know that it was never coincidence. It was a divine sign that your soul is on the right path. Comment, yes, I've met them, to affirm that you've recognized God's message. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next videos, we'll explore how to recognize your true soul companion, the one whose presence feels like home and whose arrival means your soul's journey has come full circle. Part 4. God is testing your faith before sending your true soul connection. Gemini, have you ever wondered why God lets you meet so many people, yet none of them truly stay? Why every time you think, this must be the one, they somehow drift away, leaving silence and unanswered questions behind? The truth is, God isn't hiding your soul connection. He's simply preparing you to be ready to keep it. When God wants to bless you with a divine connection, He doesn't send the right one first. He sends the almost right ones, the ones who are half light, half lesson. They're not entirely good or bad. They're perfectly crafted to test your faith, your intuition, and your patience. They come to teach you how to tell the difference between the curiosity of your mind and the calling of your soul. Because Gemini, you are a creature of thought. You crave explanations. You want to know why. You want things to make sense. You want emotions that can be reasoned with. But what is sacred can never be solved like an equation. The love God has prepared for you cannot be analyzed. It can only be felt. So when you try to protect your heart through logic, God allows confusion to enter. He lets you meet people who challenge your clarity. Half relationships, half conversations, feelings that seem right, but feel wrong. Not as punishment, but as a lesson. To stop decoding others and start trusting the whisper of your own soul. You might think God is silent, that He's ignoring your prayers. But His silence is the answer. When nothing moves, when no one fits, when you can't feel Him, that's when He's testing your heart. He's asking, do you still trust me? Even when you can't see. That's the greatest test for a Gemini soul. The test of faith. God wants you to learn how to rest in His love. No chasing, no questioning, no doubting. Because divine love doesn't arrive. When you're running, it comes when you're still enough to receive it. Waiting is not delay, it's preparation. Preparation for a heart strong enough to hold sacred love, for a spirit pure enough to recognize it when it appears. Every disappointment teaches surrender. Every misunderstanding teaches patience. Every lonely night reminds you you were never alone. God has been right beside you the entire time. Letting go isn't giving up. It's trusting that everything unfolds exactly as it should. When you stop trying to fix, control, or predict, you'll see that everything quietly aligns in divine order. When you stop asking when, where, with whom, what's meant for you arrives effortlessly, like breath. Gemini, God is never late. He simply waits for your heart to be still enough to recognize truth when it stands before you. And your waiting is not wasted. Every moment is shaping you into the person your person has been praying to meet. You're being refined, purified, divinely guided. So if you're in this season of testing, don't panic. If you're surrounded by half connections, uncertain emotions, and fading bonds, trust that everything is unfolding by sacred design. God is testing you not to punish you, but to confirm you're finally ready for the love He's about to send. Take a deep breath. Look back at how far you've come. And remind yourself, I don't need to understand everything. I just need to trust. If this is your season of testing, comment below. I trust God's timing. Let that be your prayer, your quiet covenant with the divine that says, even when I don't see, I still believe. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next message might be the one where God whispers exactly what your heart has been waiting to hear. Don't be afraid, my child. You're right where I want you to be. Part 5. Awakening. When Gemini reunites with the soul God chose. Gemini, there comes a moment in your awakening when you finally understand not everyone is meant to get you, but those who are meant to will arrive exactly when God decides. For years, you've learned how to connect, how to communicate, how to love, in every language the world speaks. But at some point, you grew tired of speaking and not being heard, tired of giving so much and being met with half-hearted energy. And in the very moment you chose silence, God smiled, because at last, you began listening with your soul instead of your ears. When Gemini truly awakens, you realize that understanding no longer lives in words, but in energy. It's not the ones who talk the most who understand you sometimes. It's a glance, a quiet pause, a simple touch that makes your spirit whisper, this is the one God sent. They don't need to know your whole story or explain theirs. Their presence alone is enough. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth, because the one God chose will see you even when you're hiding. They won't just love your light, they'll gently reach into your shadows with compassion. When you're weary, they won't try to fix you, they'll simply sit beside you. And in that silence, you'll feel God speaking through them. You don't have to fight alone anymore. True love, the kind arranged by heaven, is not loud, not rushed, not intoxicating. It's peaceful. You don't have to chase it. Real love finds you in stillness. You don't have to perform to be seen, because the one meant for you will recognize you even when your own light dims. And then you'll see every loneliness, every waiting season, every heartbreak was not meaningless. It was part of the training teaching you to listen instead of speak, trust instead of control, give without demanding in return. Loneliness was never your enemy. It was your teacher, the one who sat you down and made you look within until you found God living there. When you return to your true self, you no longer need anyone to complete you. Because once your soul breathes in rhythm with God's, you become whole. And that's when he sends the one you've been waiting for, not to heal you, but to walk beside you in your divine purpose. This person won't ignite chaos. They'll keep your inner flame steady. They won't say, "I'll make you happy," but rather, "We'll grow together in God's light." With them, your soul will feel like it's coming home to the place it's been seeking through lifetimes, and you'll understand. True connection isn't endless conversation. It's silence that still speaks. It's two souls meeting eyes and seeing an entire universe within past, present, and what's yet to come, all held together in the calm glow of peace. In that moment, you'll stop asking God for love, because you'll realize He is love. And when you love with an awakened heart, every gesture, every gaze, every touch becomes a living prayer. Gemini, if you feel like you're standing at the threshold of change, if your heart is stirring in a new, unfamiliar way, take this as a sign. God is whispering, "You're ready now. You've learned enough to love without fear." Take a deep breath, smile, and give thanks for every lesson, every tear, every ending, because they've all led you here, to the moment you reunite with the soul God chose for you, long before you even understood what love was. If this message resonates with your journey, leave in the comments as a sacred affirmation that you are ready to receive what God has prepared for you. And don't forget to subscribe, so that God can continue guiding you through each message on this path of healing, awakening, and returning to the true essence of Gemini's soul, the place where everything begins and where all souls eventually return. Dear Gemini, if you've listened this far, you can probably feel it too. Something inside you is changing. It's not loud, but it's real. Because today's message isn't just about astrology, it's about your soul's journey, the path where God is gently guiding you through loneliness, loss, and trials to bring you back to where you truly belong. The greatest lesson of this journey is this: sometimes God doesn't change your circumstances because He's using those very circumstances to change you. He uses loneliness to teach you self-love. He uses broken connections to help you discern which souls are real and which were only temporary. And He uses time, often longer than you expect, to soften your heart, to teach you how to trust, how to wait, and how to find peace in faith. The miracle is, once you truly trust, you begin to see. Every silence holds a message. Every loss is a divine exchange preparing you for something greater. And when you finally meet the soul whose name has always been written next to yours, you'll understand why the others couldn't stay. So if today you find yourself on the path of healing, remember, you are not alone. With every step you take, God walks beside you. After you finish this video, take a moment to sit still, breathe deeply, and whisper in your heart, "I trust my journey." And don't forget, what you learned today isn't just spiritual knowledge. It's a way to live. Be honest with your emotions. Love without fearing the pain. And trust that everything unfolding has meaning beyond what your eyes can see. If today's message touched your heart, leave a comment so the universe can witness your energy. I trust God's plan for my soul. Like this video if it brought you peace. And subscribe so you never miss a message God prepares for Gemini's ongoing journey. Because every video on this channel isn't just words, they are signals from the universe, wrapped in divine timing, arriving exactly when your soul is ready to receive them. Gemini, you are not lost. You are being guided home. See you in the next video, where we'll go even deeper into the soul's path. And God will once again send new messages meant only for you. Until then, live gently, love sincerely, and trust that everything is unfolding exactly as He has written.